Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where in this wonderful world you might be. Thank you for making the Highbury Squad part of your day. It's the end of a week and we head into another massive fixture. It's another London derby for the Gunners, and we have a very, very, very much favourite here to go through it all with us. Let's roll.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Memories from the corners of my mind. Aubameyang and Arteta, memories of the way we were. My worst Barbra Streisand ever. I'm just plugging in because my internet.
You're lucky I didn't. You're lucky I didn't join in to that. To that song.
Squaddies, good evening. No matter where in the world you might be, at ease, everyone. Tell them, Magic.
At ease.
Here's the good news. My internet is really crazy today. There's a lot of work going on outside. So the good news is you have a total host that could take over the show should I freeze or lose consciousness.
Yeah, I don't usually host alone though. So if you do that, you're forcing me into something that may or may not work. But I got enough squaddies here to help out. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I have somebody getting ready to cut the wires outside your house right now.
Rosalind loves Barbara. Who doesn't? DM, hey Magic. Mark is in the house.
What's up, Mark?
Daniel's in the house. SDQ is in the house. Mr. Bungle. Newman says, I need singing lessons. I was doing that badly for a reason, Newman. Do you want to hear my actual voice? If you do, right, I will do it later. But you have to give me reason. Be a good boy, and then maybe I'll give you my, real dulcet tones.
We have to do a duet sometime because shockingly, when placed with the correct type of music, I would surprise a few people. I think.
Amazing.
I have video of me doing karaoke in Liverpool actually from a couple weeks ago that my wife took, and no one vomited.
My best karaoke song is from a band. I don't know if you remember them. Fairground Attraction.
They sound like a one-hit wonder.
Song?
They sound like a familiar one-hit wonder band.
Yeah.
What was their song?
It's like, it's got to be
perfect. All right,
perfect.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
That was English music from when I lived in England, actually.
Same.
The days of Bros and
Bros,
Onion Cannibals and all. Yeah,
when
those were.
will I be famous?
I wasn't a fan.
Okay, this show's gone to shit already. Good
It's
evening,
Freestyle
everyone.
Friday,
Hello. Right. Look, it's a message from you. I love watching the squad, but my favorite shows tend to be the ones with Magic on.
I mean, maybe that's a little conceited, but
Our chief like officer is not in the house, so who's taking the reins? Gooner, Russ isn't here to do it. Usually it's Arnie.
Russ.
Mark I can rely on. By the way, can I just say, I get a message from Mark B, right, after the game at the Emirates, saying this is about the best thing that happened last night. He ran into Carol on the train on the way home.
Lovely.
That's Mark, his son, and the Folkestone Massive, the Arsenal Folkestone Massive, on their way home from the Europa League game. And they came to the
Mark and his
son. Event.
We met Mark and his son in November. In when was that? September.
Yeah.
Lovely family. I mean, I'm assuming the rest of the family is okay. We only met 2 of them, but I'm going to assume that the other Bakridans are also very nice.
Matty K. Vinny, it's 2. It's actually Vespa.
Can't even tell your dogs apart.
It's Vespa. That's Tony telling Vespa to, yeah. Why don't we bring Vespa out? Seeing as Tony's like saying to Tottenham aren't even playing today. Why are you barking like that? Hit the like button, everyone. There's Vespa. There's Vinny with his bow tie. We've got Super Kev coming up via video for you guys with some questions. I have to say, Magic, I am absolutely knackered. Do you know why?
Because of lack of sleep? Because you do Sky Sports with certain people at very ungodly hours, considering the time difference? Is that potentially why?
That's potentially why. Thank you for the leading. This is why you are a great co-host, by the way. We'll get to football eventually, but yeah, sure, fine. The squaddies always like to know what we get up to. So yesterday I did this all day. It's a massive game here in LA. It's MLS Cup weekend. And I got to meet the MLS Cup. I've touched it actually, as I have touched the Cup Winners' Cup in the early 90s.
Things that you
MLS
touched
Cup,
gold, by the way.
Generally.
So I'm waiting.
Say that out loud. That's how tired I am. But yeah, it was amazing. Carlos Vela, the old Arsenal boy, lovely. He's ready to lift a trophy. I'm rooting for him. I hope he does it.
So
I met this legend as well.
Is it LAFC?
LAFC versus Philly. Philly,
Oh.
by the way, a city that's on fire right now with sports.
Yeah.
Forgive us, all our European viewers, but Philadelphia Eagles are 8-0. The Phillies are in the World Series, and the Philadelphia Union are in MLS Cup.
They're having a year like Washington did about 4 years ago, and it was like the one good year that we ever had.
Then I met this legend, and we talked about England v USA on Thanksgiving.
Oh.
God, he's so tall. It's ridiculous. Alexi Lalas.
Ah.
I know you don't like him very much, but he's actually a very nice human being. And
how do you know that I don't like him very much?
Because you just went.
So that comprises your knowledge of how I feel about it.
I'm just saying.
He was in the audience. Strangely enough, he was in the audience as a guest of is it what's Davies' first name? The TV producer that's a Chelsea fan that produced Michael Davies.
Michael, that's on with Roger Bennett. That
one.
Yeah,
one of them. Yeah, the Men in Blazers. Well, when I was on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire in 1999, the U.S. version, the second night that I was on, right there in the front in the VIP seating area was Alexi Lalas, full Jesus look with the beard and mustache. That was in the height of his USA playing days, and that's the one thing that I was able to notice in the nerves and everything that was around me was Alexi Lalas sitting right there. I did not know that he was going to end up turning into a commentator with ridiculous views. At the time, he was just a really good footballer, but yeah, he is pretty tall.
Yeah, he's pretty tall, and I'm pretty short, so it all works out in the end. And then this happened. So I did all that. I was at MLS Cup Media Day, did the whole State of the Union with the commissioner, interviewed him. And then magic happened. The moment that many Gooners aspire to. I shared a segment with the Oracle on Sky Sports News Paper Talk this morning. Here he is. Let's just put that up like a Jesus Christ picture of Mr. David Ornstein. By the way, Tom White is a legend in himself. But wow, I really loved doing that segment with him. It was pretty cool.
You know how many journalists we have had on the Gooners podcast? It's actually a forte of ours. I'm very proud of the roster of highly sought out and esteemed journalistic talent that we've had on the Gooners pod, but he's the one that's gotten away, and you know, F you.
Well, he's not on the Highbury Squad yet, but
no, I'm thrilled that you got to share a segment with him, and I'm sure you guys are best friends now, and as you should be, because you're a good bestie.
Yeah, no,
So
he's
I'm
a true
happy.
gentleman.
I'm happy for David. Is who I'm happy for.
Yeah,
This is kind of run of the mill now at this point, but David is now.
So Magic, my family watch my segments, which is really cute, and they take screenshots, and I'm thinking, can they actually maybe take a better screenshot than this?
That's like what you send for like a virtual visit to your dentist.
And then this one, they have me like looking into space, and the reflectors didn't.
So your family do that, because personally, when I'm
family,
when I'm on with a top guest and I want to like brag to people, I'm like, you can always you can see the phone in the bottom. And so it's like always like looking up, like a picture of my chins.
So do you want to hear what I did as well?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
So the clocks haven't gone back here in the United States yet. We're doing that this weekend. And I always set an alarm, because when I do Sky Sports, it's 11:30 p.m. my time. So I'm busy all day. I'm doing like the MLS Cup stuff and everything. And then I get home, and Tony's like, "Are you going to get to rest?" And I'm like, "Sure, I'm going to chill for a little bit, doing a little bit of research and stuff like that." And then I get ready like for 11:30 p.m. And then I'm sending notes saying, "Hey, I haven't, like, what are the headlines? What are we talking about?" And then I only realized at like midnight, fuck. Oh, just ruined my own algorithm.
Yeah, normally I'm the one that messes up your algorithm. And I even restrained myself into using initials.
So tired. I realized, oh, I'm an hour before I'm supposed to be on call. So they got
better than in the spring, because then you would have missed it completely and been an hour late.
Yeah,
I love the 4-hour time difference. It's 7 for you, but I love the 4-hour time difference because it just makes me feel that much closer to Demsek. And his brethren and sisterin of squaddies, because the time difference is the distance, and
Is this comment a good thing or a bad thing?
I saw her when she was over. She went and took the glasses from the place, and now she's wearing them, which I think is rude. But
yeah, I swore. Start all over again. Let's do the show. Okay, right. Let's. Mike? What have you been up to?
Well, a lot of visiting my son at uni. He's having a good time down there. Not so sure about
good time. Another opportunity for me to sing.
Having a good time. Yeah, he doesn't want to stop at all.
Is he dating a lot of chicks?
I don't know that he's dating them.
I
don't know. We don't talk about it, but there certain items were seen on his desk when we were there that he didn't put away. So, but anyway, he's having a good time.
Please tell me.
He's living the life, apparently a safe life, and yeah, he's having a lot of fun. Been doing a lot of work. Our house in Florida.
How's that looking?
It is close. We're moving in on the 9th of December. So this
plan my vacay.
This 18-month journey of new home construction here in the U.S. during the pandemic and post-pandemic age is almost over. So anybody stopping by the Gulf Coast of Florida in the next year or so can certainly come and visit the Magic Kingdom. I didn't realize I was stealing Walt Disney's. We just won't tell them.
I love this. There's a whole thing going on there.
Yeah.
We're 15 minutes in and we've talked zero football. Don't you love that?
It's the Friday roast. Welcome to
Freestyle Friday actually came before the Friday roast, the Sunday roast. Do you realize this?
Fine.
So roasties.
Yeah, well,
and that the squaddies should have a baseball match.
That we stole directly from you.
All right, let's get stuck into it, shall we? We're going to start off with Lone Star. You asked where Kev is. Kev was working TalkSport today. And by the way, I'd like to thank our good friends at Zenith Coins. We're giving away another Zenith coin tonight. And it's for someone who's written in. So we're going to talk about that towards the end of the show. The Highbury Squad coin. Tammy was the recipient of our first. She's taken PTO tonight. Paid time off for Tammy, the chief like officer.
Wow, she's on the payroll.
Yeah. Well, no, it's actually
now
you have three
people. You have 3 people on the payroll. You have to, you might want to start offering benefits. I don't know where the money's coming from.
So FTO, free time off for Tammy. But also Ian Bruce, thank you for sharing your purchase of the Arsenal coin, the official licensed partner Zenith coins for our beloved football club. So do you want to talk football, Mike?
I would love to, because there's been
I'm gonna get let's throw Super Kev's question out for everyone. Are you ready, guys? Let's stuck into this. Here we go.
Let's see how
Sophie, Magic, Squaddies. Hope you're well. At ease. At ease. I got a question for you. For you, Magic, and everybody. You, Soph, and the Squaddies. In January, what would you do in January? How many players would you bring in? Would you bring 3 players? 1 insurance policy. So you got 2 players who you would sign, and then another as an insurance policy. Not unlimited funds, obviously, but what would you do? It'd be interesting to find out what you would do. Anyway, Squaddies, have a great evening. Look after yourself. We love you. Super Kev loves you. Take good care. At ease, Squaddies.
Yeah,
there's another Super Kev video.
I'll say it again. I love the Super Kev videos because they don't end. Like they keep you think it's over and then he just keeps going. And I love it because who's going to complain about more Super Kev?
Yeah, and there's another video coming as well, Magic. There's one more.
And it's 46 minutes long, so we're going to play it as an outro.
Okay.
Oh,
this guy
geez.
right here.
Who does this guy think who does this guy think he is? Yeah, I mean, you're lucky enough to be a member, a very prominent member of a group of people who get to experience this content virtually every single day. And this is how you use it, by degrading and deriding the people who provide you that content.
He's been ejected from the chat, and he's going to earn his way back in and show some respect.
Put some respect on Super Kev's name.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's what they're saying.
Okay, so Anik says, if ESR comes back, I'd say left-footed centre-back and Party backup. Go all out on Neves. Rich says we need at least 2 players in. Matty K says in midfield. Magic, let's see a few others here. Ooh, 3 midfielders, a striker and a winger, says Lone Star. Rosalind says depends on the World Cup injuries, so maybe 1 player might come in. Love Super Kev. Give him a yellow. No, Matty K, you're way too soft. I have given him red.
That was studs up.
2.
That was studs up, reckless.
Ridiculous. 1 striker, 1 CDM, a winger. Let's see. We did the 3 midfielders. Good evening, UG. Mark says we need a DM, a striker in January. Hopefully ESR will be back too. Straight red is a bit harsh. Everyone, what?
Everyone used to talk about how Granit Xhaka had this reputation and like referees would treat him differently. Newman's done nothing not to earn that reputation, from what I've seen. When he comes up with a comment like that, it's gonna evoke a particular response, and that's a straight red.
Okay, so Ty, Magic Mike, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing great, bro.
I'll read a couple of others, and then Magic take over and answer Kev's question. We need a midfielder and a right winger. Universal Greek says we need a cover for Party, maybe a forward. Other than that, we're going to wait until summer. 2 players, Danilo for the DM, and Danilo from
from
Yes,
Brazil.
that's a very expensive release clause by, I think, at least 80 million. Endrick or that Facundo guy. Don't
That
swear at me.
I love that, the Facundo guy. You got to be careful. You got to be careful about the algorithm when you talk about Facundo. But
Uh, Mike,
yeah.
what's your answer? I'll keep putting the comments up from the squaddies.
Well, as we know, the January window is not the easiest window to do business with unless you have, a player just absolutely pushing to get out. That's when we signed Aubameyang, which we'll come to, was in the January window. We've had a couple other January signings, not a ton of which have been incredibly impactful. But I do think that maybe when we failed to sign Rafinha over the summer, we thought that Marquinhos might actually surprise and be able to be that Saka replacement. We've seen Vieira play in his position to limited success. I think we could certainly do with depth on the right wing. We have options on the left. We don't seem to have a ton of great options on the right, unless Reece Nelson continues a resurgence. But Mudryk seems like he's young, he's raw, he's certainly pacey, and he's had some pretty good moments in the is it the Europa League or the Champions League that Shakhtar's in? The Champions League, right?
Well, they dropped into the Europa
League. Right,
League.
They're dropping down, but the moments he's had have been in the Champions League against great competition. Seems like he's very quickly getting to be very expensive, though. There's another right wing that I absolutely was salivating over that would be much cheaper, and I'm completely forgetting who it was at this point. It wasn't the Facundo guy, but I'll someone maybe in the chat can bring up some more names and I'll remember.
Who was he? Who do you know? Well, we'll figure out who you're.
But yeah, I mean, I would certainly bring in somebody at the right wing, but I wouldn't bring in anyone who is.
I don't want Zaha.
No,
sorry,
no, absolutely not. I think
he's a Reece Nelson for me.
Well,
sorry, guys, they
don't
want to hear this, but he's inconsistent.
I think the person I was thinking of is Trossard, and I'm not sure whether he plays right or left. To be honest, I think he might play.
He's
left.
Versatile.
But
he's a versatile player, and he's banging in goals against all the top teams, Mike.
I think that's the guy I was thinking of because he's Premier League experience.
Amira's backing you up here, Trossard. He thought that's who you were thinking of.
So if I don't know that Brighton's getting rid, but I would love to see someone of that pedigree come in and push Saka for time. I mean, that doesn't mean he's going to play over Saka, but again, we've got plenty of games. We've got very important games coming up. And so I think that's an area. I do think we need a Partey backup. We have Elneny back, which makes me happy, but not necessarily, the long-term solution. So
what's your take on this Sambi 6'8" whole dilemma positioning? A lot of what he was talking about, I think, was pertaining to the Belgian squad. Some Arsenal fans think he plays in this X role. Some people think he plays in this Y role. I thought in the second half yesterday, he was actually pretty good versus the first half. And I also think that depending on who's playing alongside him, maybe everyone who plays alongside Partey Mike becomes, more effective in a game. When you have Sambi and Xhaka can't do his new Xhaka things and he doesn't want to play in that role. It's definitely an area that we have to bolster. And this is the thing with Arsenal, I think, is that this is why I don't want Zaha. This is why I don't want plays like that. If we're going to elevate, if we're going to the next level, if we truly want to compete and be competitive consistently in the Premier League, we've got to aim higher. And that's no disrespect to Zaha, but I think that ship sailed. That ship should have
sailed 4 years.
He should have ported for Emery. Exactly. So what is your take on that?
They don't have to be 22, 23. They can be 26, but they don't need to be 29. And I've never rated Zaha as anything being special. He's a good player. He's maybe above average.
I've argued with Lev from Arsenal Lounge on this a little bit.
Yeah, I mean Zaha is he kind of evokes the same feelings in people sometimes as, and I'm not comparing them as players, but like as a Ronaldo does or somebody else, because he's a flashy player. He's dazzling. He can be in his absolute top form, can be unplayable from a defensive standpoint, but we rarely see that. More often we see the guy diving and buying penalties, and we've seen it against us. And earning a lot of penalties is a positive when the man plays for your team, but that's just not. I mean, he's ironically, because he was so closely associated with him, I don't see him as being much different than Pepe. We bought Pepe instead of him. Apparently, we probably shouldn't have. And had we bought Zaha that summer, who knows what would have happened? But no, not now. Definitely not now.
Magic, can I ask you this as well? Do you think that Sambi, having been captain at Anderlecht, played under Vincent Kompany, came on the recommendation of Thierry? A lot of fans and some of the squaddies are talking in chat about he needs to go on loan. Do you think it comes to a point, though, where at this age, at 22, do you really want to be sending players out on loan? Do you, when you see Saka and Emile Smith-Rowe and Martinelli be effective at their age, do you really want to be sending players on loan at that age? Like,
I would send him out on loan. I don't know that it's applicable to everybody at that age, but I would send him out on loan, because what I think you have in Sambi Lokonga is somebody who has the potential to be very, very good, but in his current situation, being plugged in out of necessity in some cases, or in matches that are, seen as being less important, like yesterday, although it was quite important to win. I just don't think he's necessarily ready, and we don't know exactly where he fits in.
How can he not be ready at his age when you've seen Emile Smith-Rowe be ready, Martinelli be ready, Saka be ready?
Was Ian Wright ready? Was Ian Wright ready at 22?
No, but that's okay. So Ian Wright is a unique story. Jamie Vardy's a unique story. Callum Wilson is a unique story. Those stories don't happen every single day in football. But when you've been captain of Anderlecht and you've been managed by Vincent Kompany and recommended by Thierry Henry, I don't want you to come to the Arsenal and need to go on loan at your age.
I don't want him to. I know
Nuno's gone on loan to Marseille and he's doing decent, but you saw in that game against Tottenham, Guendouzi, Tavares, Alexis Sanchez, all the rejects, they just didn't deliver in the end, right?
Screwed the entire game up at the end.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're not going to talk about that because that's just, whatever it is. But the point is that at this point, with regards to our growth and where we're at, maybe 2 seasons ago, this would be a different story, Mike. But where we're at right now, I think we need players to come in and elevate the team versus bringing in players or plugging in players who might need a loan deal or might not be there in the future. This is how you build a competitive team that's really going to challenge in the Premier League.
Well, I don't think we brought in Sambi to go out on loan. I think we brought in Sambi to be at the level where he could be expected to start for the Arsenal in midfield. I just think that the improvement and the Xhaka phase 2 that we're seeing out of him, the ability for Partey to, for the most part this season, stay healthy. I feel like I'm jinxing it. Those things have kind of had Lokonga playing a little less frequently and a little less consistently. Do you think he's ready to step in for the next 3 months? Should it be necessary?
No, but the point is that we now, Demsek's asking, Sophie, has your view on player age changed? My view has been, have the Martinellis and the Sakas and the Emile Smith-Rowes of the world, and have more Thomas Partey's, Xhaka's. Gabriel Jesus is 25, Zinchenko's 25, but they come with a plethora of experience, having played for Pep and been challenging at the highest level, won Premier Leagues, been in the Champions League, been in hot pot situations, playing their craft, right? Tomiyasu came in green, but he just is a different mindset. Benjamin White, Leeds, Brighton, he understands the English game. Gabriel, he just has a different mindset. Yes, he needs tweaks to his game. Saliba went off, came back in much stronger. Ramsdale just built differently. The player DNA and profile is different. And I'm not saying Sambi doesn't have that. I'm just saying, like, at this point, when you're having competition at left back, Mike, you've got Tomiyasu now, you've got Kieran Tierney, you've got Zinchenko. At right back, you've got Tomiyasu, you've got Benjamin White. At front, you don't have that with Gabriel Jesus and Eddie Nketiah. You need that that kind of juxtaposition, a player that can come in, maybe offer something different, but still be effective.
Oh,
It's
I'm
on
not
the
just
Saka side and the Martinelli side, I think, that we need the strongest reinforcements and in that center of midfield.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you on the attacking players. I just it sounds like we might have slight difference of opinion on Sambi. Just in terms of Sambi, I would consider sending him out on loan and hope for the Saliba outcome rather than the other outcomes. I mean, I don't like sending players out on loan, but when I think we could do better than them right now, and they're young and have the ability to improve with more playing time, I'm not opposed to it. As it stands right now, we've got what 4 options in midfield that are regular options with El Neni back for 2 spots, and when we're playing 1 game a week, that's fine. When we're playing 2 games a week, which even during the Europa League lull, I think we'll be playing close to 2 games a week because of the compressed Premier League schedule. I might feel more comfortable with an injury deputization for one of those 2 players being someone other than Sambi Lokonga. That's just for this season. And if we send him on loan and we upgrade to the point where he can't make his way back into the squad, then you've got sale value for him, which is something that we're going to have to start to do, is sell some of our players who are almost but not quite good enough to make it into the 18s. Just like Liverpool's done with Jordan Ibe and Solanke and all those players. So
what do you think about Marcello's comment here with regards? Remember how Xhaka got a lot of crap, and of course now he's playing the position that he's been playing for Switzerland for a long time. Lokonga is playing out of position. I think like I said, we saw the best of him in the second half where there was a bit of a switch. Do you think a little bit square peg round holes? I'm not saying he's been set up to fail by the manager. I think the manager's trying to use him as best he can with what he's got in certain competitions and when there's injuries. But do you agree with Marcello?
Well, I mean, hasn't he kind of been playing both? I mean, has he been deputizing for both?
He has. He has.
I mean, I remember the game last season.
He's not a Thomas Partey replacement, Matt.
No. I think that it would be great if he were, but I don't think that he is. I remember a game last year. It was the last game it was one of the last games I went to against Brighton, the one where Martinelli's goal was ruled out after 94 minutes of VAR, and we lost that game. It was the first and only game we've ever lost with me at the Emirates. But of course, that's just making it about me. That was a game where I think we ended up having to play Xhaka at left back, or we elected to play Xhaka at left back instead of Nuno Tavares. And so Lokonga was essentially left all alone in the midfield. He was played out of position and round peg, square peg, round hole there. And, and he failed in that situation, but I don't really blame him for that. But this season, if we're not finding out where he is, again, I'm not saying he's not good enough. I'm just not sure whether he's good enough or not. And I don't really want to experiment with him in games that are going to determine whether we win the league or get top 4 or make the Europa League late stages. So, I'm just not super confident when I see his name in there yet, as I am with any of the 3 left backs, any of the 2 right backs, and other positions. Let's put it this way: between Fabio and Vieira playing and Sambi Lokonga playing, because I know there's a lot of furor about Vieira and whether he's good enough, I'd much rather have Vieira play. And I'm not saying in the same position. I'm just saying between the 2 who are kind of fringe players at this point.
I think that's unfair. And here's why: because I always feel like there's something brewing that Sambi's a scapegoat. A little bit like Gabriel has been, the finger pointed at him, but we saw how much we missed him, when he's on the bench. And I think that it's easy to criticize Sambi because we compare Sambi to Partey. We compare Sambi to Xhaka. We compare Eddie to Jesus. We compare Holding to Gabriel. No, but fans do. And the problem is that those bench players aren't as good as the starting 11.
There's a
What
reason
you
that they're
need
not
to
in the
do
starting 11. Yeah.
exactly, but you need to get as close to that, right? So if we're building like a Manchester City or that Liverpool were pre this season, right? Chelsea in years past, you have players who are at least comparable. And I'm gonna read some of these comments to
Yeah,
you.
I agree with that completely. And I don't, you're right about the scapegoating. I think for anyone who's scapegoating Gabriel is just wrong to be. I mean, it's not even a matter of opinion for me. I mean, he makes some blunders. Let's not get it wrong on
No,
that.
but he does because he's
But
the beast and he's the one that is kind of the enforcer. But we saw in certain games when he's not there aerially,
oh
I mean, he's a dominant force.
yeah,
And unfortunately, sometimes he's also put in situations where, the midfield breaks down and he has to make a decision and he's got to put in a challenge. And I
yeah.
do
I mean,
think that yes, mentally he's got to be more engaged, Mike. There's no doubt about that. But
he's made. I mean, as recently as a couple games ago when he passed it in his own box to the opponent. I mean, he's made some mistakes, but I mean, not in the style of a regular Mustafi David Luiz situation where every time they go in for a challenge, you just hide your
yeah.
face and start calling out for mommy. But
Let let
I
me
mean
let me
I just assume everyone does that. It's not just me, is it?
I cry for my mum all the time. Universal Greek says Sambi has to learn the overall midfield craft before he can pick and choose his starting position. He has to earn his
And,
stripes.
and and no one should be scapegoating him. I mean, it's not there's got
No,
to be a middle ground where you instead of scapegoating someone and instead of elevating them to status that they haven't earned or perhaps don't deserve yet, you just allow for the guy to grow. And I mean, if we don't send him out on loan, but instead he starts a handful of games here.
I
I mean,
just don't think a player like him who's come in with that type of credentials should be like considered. I think it's sell him or he's going to work. Amira says, but so should we also consider the position Sambi's been asked to play? He's doing fine, not exceptional. Covering for Partey, who himself took a few years to develop into the six Arteta wants. I don't know if Partey took years to develop. We knew what we were buying. It's just that he took time to develop into the Premier League. Sustained injuries because it's a totally different game from La Liga. I'll read you this one, Mike. I think his better position is in the Xhaka role, but I think he still needs more time to mature even in that role. I don't buy into that. Sambi has this season grown into some sort of midfield role. I think people are mistaken and thinking that he's been asked to play out of position. He just plays his game and doesn't have one.
oh,
Oh dear.
jeez,
A top
that
class
was like a
midfielder.
reasonable comment until the very end. It got really insulting. That was
Yeah, and Demsek says as a top class midfielder, Sambi could play until he's 33.
yeah. When we
Did
talk about
not
how he
expect
was
this to be the Sambi show, by the way.
well when we talk about how he was brought in and who he was recommended by, I mean, those are all very important things, and I'm sure Arsenal took them into consideration. But I'm a big believer and a proponent of remembering the sunk cost theory, which is that none of that matters anymore. He's there now, and if he's not good enough, if he's not reliable enough, or that we're not confident enough with him in those positions on a regular basis, then he shouldn't be playing there on a regular basis. We weren't confident enough with Nuno Tavares playing in that role on a regular basis. Frankly, I think Nuno would be a reasonable replacement for Martinelli if he were hurt. More
Yeah,
on the
I've
attack.
always felt he's more forward
Yeah,
than
I mean, I think he plays a different role for us if and when he comes back, or we sell him to a team that plays with wingbacks, plays 3 or 5 at the back, but as we used to. But like, if he's not ready yet, then either we get him experience elsewhere because we've brought someone else in now who can help us now and who is much, much better and more confident in that situation. Or, like you said, we can sell him. I don't think we'll get a lot for him. I think someone else will probably get a very good deal in a less competitive league with lower pressure. Someone will get a very good deal on a Sambi Lokonga that will then be sold back to a Premier League club for 70 million pounds. But I don't see why we have to pile on him. I certainly don't think that that's what I'm
Yeah,
doing.
no, I don't. I mean, real quick before we get to 40 minutes in. Time flies when you're
This is gonna be a
having fun.
2-hour show, even though Sophie's knackered.
No, 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 no.
No,
I
no,
have an
no.
appointment. I have a mixer. You know those medium mixers, Mike. Where is that
Ooh.
sun shadow coming
I
from?
don't know what that is because I'm not in the industry.
Come on, you've been to a medium mixer, haven't you, before? I'm gonna go rub shoulders.
Never. I've been to mixers, but not to a media mixer. They don't like
Okay,
me.
so we've spent a lot of time talking about Sambi, but it is important because yesterday's game, I saw the sky was falling for some fans. And in my mind, I'm like, I don't care. This is one game where I give 0 Fs about the performance. Just get the 3 points. Let's get in and get out. Manchester United now may have to face Barcelona and Juventus. Also, by the way, Barcelona and Juventus, they're shit this season. I would bet my money on Manchester United being any of those teams. I think the teams they have to worry about are the Sevillas of the world and teams like that. Barcelona, not the same. Juventus, archaic under Max Allegri, just awful to watch.
God, I wish he had come here.
Oh my God. I covered them in the USA tour. And I said at the time to Carlo Garganese, I said, dude, what is wrong with Juventus? Their vibe was off. Their energy was off. Vlahovic looked like miserable. The whole thing was like, you went to the Real Madrid camp and it was like, woo. And then you went to the Juventus camp and it was like, it just felt like so off, right? So we're very lucky. We have skipped the bye week, as they would say in America. And we are now in a position to not have to play an additional game. And we get that kind of, that draw that we wanted, Mike. So for me, if there's one game that I really didn't care about was losing to PSV away. I'm going to take that and get 3 points against Forest and just scraping by and not playing well. And then realizing, okay, we've got Chelsea this weekend. We've done pretty well at Stamford Bridge. Let's just go in and get 3 points in the Premier League. Are you with me on the non-performance side yesterday? Because
yeah,
like Mark said, the most exciting thing was running into Carol on the train on the way home.
Yeah, I mean, it's context as well. When 2 years ago, when we had absolute dross on the pitch on a regular basis, a boring game against a lowly team like Zurich would have been yet another failure in context, even if we won it. Now it's about getting results. It's about getting results when we're not at 100%, either in our starting 11 or just our form and play, and getting the big results when the big games count. We show up flat and lazy and disjointed against Chelsea on Sunday, then there's something to complain about. But getting a win that we needed badly against Zurich, although we didn't seal the win until the final whistle, that's all that matters. That entire game goes by and Zurich scores in the 93rd minute, then it's a bad game. But they didn't, so it's not.
Right. Exactly. I completely concur with you.
Don't overthink it.
I threw my keys into a bar at a party recently. It ruined my trifle.
That sounds kind of hot.
Mark says agreed, so the result is all that matters. Yeah.
Me,
what are you drinking? Everyone wants to know what you're drinking.
Yeah, the baby milk. It's a cookies and cream protein shake. It's not baby milk. It's not breast milk. And to the person that asked what my red wine varietal is, it was most definitely Cabernet. If that's what you were asking. So
Brian says there are no bad games when we win. So here's the scoop.
You can recognize the poor performance.
Correct.
But, and I hate to go here, but if you're going to say I'm not going to celebrate this shit, then don't come to me with that, because we won the group. We got the result we needed in order to avoid playing an extra.
I think we should celebrate the fact that we won the group. We only lost one game. We're through to the next round. We're in the bucket. We keep striving. It's another route to the Champions League. Who knows what can happen in the Premier League, especially after the World Cup. Injuries. No one knows what's going to happen. Did Chelsea think Ben Chilwell would get injured? No. Did Tottenham think that Son would need like eye surgery. No.
Is that what's
Richarlison,
happened?
look at France, look at N'Golo Kante, look at Kamara, look at Angel Di Maria for Argentina and Dybala, look at Neto, look at Jota. Look at these players that are injured. So we don't know what is going to happen. So I understand what Arteta is doing here. He's going full force because it's for the Arsenal Football Club before the World Cup, club before country, period. And he's going for it in every single game. And I back him 100% for going full force in every game before we get a month off. We're going to have some friendlies with the 15, 16, maybe 15 players that are left, right, Mike? And I
guess.
think
We're
that
going to do behind closed doors friendlies against Brentford again.
I think AC Milan is on the books. I don't know. We're gonna get.
Are they doing those in America?
No, he's setting up camp in the Middle East. So if anything happens and a player needs to go off, for cover, they're in the right time zone. They're in the right, climate.
Ornstein tell you that?
Huh?
Did you learn that from Ornstein? Because I hadn't heard that yet.
I may have learned that from Tom Canton.
Oh, well, I don't know why.
Listen, Tom Canton is David Ornstein 2.0.
He will be. No,
Yeah,
I mean, he needs to go. He needs to go out on loan, but then when he comes back, he's going to be. I totally back him. Let's talk about Alba.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get stuck into the game this weekend because we're 46 minutes in. So I'm going to play another video from Super Kev. He's going to give us his thoughts on what's going to happen in the game, his prediction. And then we're going to talk about, our ex-captain and stuff. Here we go.
Squaddies. Super Kev here. Magic. Soph. Prediction time. At ease. Chelsea aren't playing well. Qualified in their group, which is great. Fine. But they're not playing well. I keep saying it. We got to go to their gaff and punch them in the mouth. Arsenal to win the game. 2-1. Beat Chelsea at the bridge. And we march on. Come on, you Gunners. Take it easy. Bye.
That one actually ended pretty quick.
Yeah. Yeah, he kept that very to the point, in and out. Super Kev with his prediction. If you miss Kev on TalkSport Breakfast, you can rewind it on the TalkSport app and go watch that. What's your take, Mike? And of course, the narrative that everyone's been building is our ex-captain. Honestly, I give 0 Fs about this guy now. You don't play for my club, but you've got the tattoo on your arm. Have you skin grafted it yet? I'm not sure. Thankful for the memories in the FA Cup run. You smashed it. You were the reason why we won, one of 3 or 4 reasons why we won. It was wonderful to see you and the gaffer here, but you let the club down afterwards. You got your big fat contract and you delivered 0, and then you acted like a prima donna, like you were more important than the club. And then you doubled down on it by buying your jewelry in a hotel room somewhere in Barcelona and talking about how the gaffer couldn't manage big characters. I was very critical of Arteta, but I'll tell you something, it's like family, right? Even though my cousin may have stolen something, I'm going to ask him, like, why did you steal it? What was the reason behind that? And I will back him until I know that he's done right or wrong, okay? Mikel Arteta has been right in many regards, and he's managed some things wrong in many regards. I would say the Pepe sending off, you slap Xhaka on the backside as he's given a red card and give him a pass, but you call Pepe out in public. Wrong. But in this case with Aubameyang, Magic, he had it down and he managed it brilliantly, and I backed him 100%, regardless of what I had thought of him in his first 2 seasons. What is your take on this? I hope Aubameyang celebrates if he scores. Don't act like you love the Arsenal and don't celebrate, but I hope we make you cry. That's how I feel.
I hope if he should score that he celebrates and that Granit Xhaka interrupts the flip halfway through with a shove in the back. That's what I hope. I almost want him to score to see what happens. But I'm, look, I'll never, I still want a clean sheet, but I rarely still love an Arsenal player once they leave. There are very few examples of that. Thierry Henry is one. Olivier Giroud eventually became one, although there were a couple the years he was at Chelsea, I wasn't too fond, especially given that he celebrated, on film after the Europa League final. What is a person supposed to do when he's surrounded by his teammates? But I'm either just completely ambivalent or I effing hate the person and want nothing but failure for them. And that's how I feel about Aubameyang. I loved Aubameyang. I couldn't believe we actually signed that guy when he came from Dortmund. I knew there were risks. I enjoyed thoroughly watching him for the first season and a half, 2 seasons, and unfortunately, it just got untenable. And the guy's a jackass. He's a problem, and he plays for the enemy now. So absolutely. I hope we leave one in a little bit for him in this game.
This was the least hurt I felt with. I felt like a few people, and you saw the comments I brought up. I was more bummed with, Van Persie leaving, Fabregas leaving.
Oh, I was
Nasri, I didn't care about so much.
Gutted when Van Persie left.
Oh, I mean, we were all gutted. He was the guy to build the team. Yeah, I mean, it was awful. It was absolutely awful. Thierry, I think it got to a point where, yes, it was time for him to move on. We all gave our blessing, albeit the way it ended and stuff like that. It still was like you gave everything to this club. You gave us some glorious, glorious memories. Alexis Sanchez, that was bitter. That felt bad because I felt like he could have been a total legend had he stayed. And look what's happened to his career, Magic, after he left. It's not been great.
I think he failed at Manchester United.
And some players you kind of bask in that a little bit, don't you? It's like, screw you. 100%. Why should I care about Aubameyang?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't do that in my personal life. I wouldn't I don't know a compromise. I wouldn't wish that I have a very good friend who I used to work with in the same office, and he ended up leaving and going to a competing company. And I don't wish him, to fail. I love the guy. But in sports, again, this is all somewhat theater a little bit. I know they're real people. Not that Aubameyang's really going to care what I think. I mean, who am I, troops? But but there is a level of video game-ness, movie star-ness where they're that much disconnected from reality as performers that you can have these visceral feelings about them. I hope he fails miserably, not because I don't like him as a person, but because he's a footballing enemy now. Yeah,
he left with a vindictive.
Well, and I understand why, but I'm an Arsenal supporter. I support Arsenal. I don't support people who leave Arsenal in out of disagreements with how the club is being run, whether they are right or wrong. I don't support it. I don't support them after that. I don't support footballers. I support a football team, and I see too many Arsenal fans and supporters, and many of them who have platforms who tend to focus on players more than the team. And Aubameyang
I don't care.
Certainly one of those players that I've seen, people use now as a stick to hit Arteta over the head with, the same as certain players were used as a stick to hit Emery over the head with. Players shouldn't be sticks to hit people over the head with. They should be, unfortunately, interchangeable parts until they show and prove and remain club legends, like Super Kev, like Alan, Tony Adams, Smudger. I mean, those guys. Some of them went to play elsewhere. Some of them went to play for 7 other teams after they left.
But also, there's legends, Magic, and there's cult heroes. Like Santi will always be welcome back at the Arsenal, right? He's Freddie Ljungberg, Anders Limpar.
Yeah, wish nothing for the best, nothing but the best for those guys once they left.
Exactly. Even for me, Fabregas hurt, but
I didn't root
The
for him
whole
after he left.
This is why I have no sympathy for Barcelona at all. Putting the shirt on him in that press conference, you know what? You reap what you sow. You are in the mud, and you know what? You treated your legendary player like mud, right? And I have zero sympathy for them. And Kev said on Talksport that he wouldn't have any. We asked Jason Cundy this. If you have not watched Monday Madness, we're going to repost it and do some clips before the big game on Sunday. But Jason Cundy found it really hard to pick a Chelsea player that would make the Arsenal squad right now. When was the last time
Yeah, we were
that happened?
talking about that in one of my WhatsApp groups. Mount is one of their best players, but unfortunately, he's blocked by Saka in that combined 11 situation. I don't. It's crazy to say with all the money they've spent and the players who have come through there that are starting 11. And because you asked, I'll give you my starting 11. It's the one that we've
Yes.
played when we've been able to, which is Ramsdale, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Tierney, Xhaka, Partey, Saka, Jesus, Martinelli. Now, I would swap out Tierney in a moment if Zinchenko's ready to play. But that would be my starting 11. That's our strongest starting 11, in my opinion. And, I don't know who, maybe Reece James, if he were healthy. But
He's not. He's going to miss the World Cup.
I don't know.
Yeah,
And this isn't the Adam Crafton, snarky all 11 Tottenham players in the combined 11, and then Mesut
yeah, but
Ozil
if you're saying like players that can play now is Reece James and
I just don't see that.
and maybe Kepa.
Really, is he good again now? I mean,
he's been pretty good. I mean, Ramsdale's not been great, but he,
I wouldn't start Kepa over Ramsdale right now. I mean, that could be just my, homerness, but I wouldn't do that.
So if everyone's fit, my starting 11 is Tommy, Gabriel 6, Saliba, Benjamin, Rambo 2.0, of course, and the usual suspects. It writes itself: Xhaka, Partey, Odegaard, Saka, Jesus, Martinelli. Here's the thing as well. Kev said this very clearly. And Stephen McAneny from Manchester City, who I did a Sky Sports transfer deadline day with, put out these tweets talking about Arsenal fans are now seeing the real Jesus. He's just not this and this. In your team, he wasn't this and this. In our team, he's this and that. There's a difference. Even if he's not scoring goals, what he offers and what he does is completely the opposite magic of what Aubameyang and Lacazette offered. And when you've got goals coming from Odegaard or Xhaka or Partey or Saka or Martinelli, what Jesus sets the tone for this team in hustling, in what they do off the ball, in everything. He's infectious. His tenacity has been nothing short of incredible. And if people want to point the finger at him not scoring, fine. At some point, he's got to find his boots. But Arteta has a system, and he fits the system, right? So we don't care where do you care where the goals come from if we win and we get 3 points? Are you going to rag on Jesus really based on how hard he works? This whole thing as well, stop it. Stop it.
You don't say, okay, well, Arsenal have scored 24 goals in 2 games, but Jesus is really bad. If he was better, we'd have scored 31. No, we wouldn't. We would have scored 24, 25, but they would have come all from Jesus. I mean, look at Erling Haaland at Manchester City. You wouldn't trade him. You wouldn't not play him simply because he's getting 80% of the goals that Man City score, which is a very, very high. And I don't know that to be statistically correct. It just feels like he's getting 85% of their goals. It doesn't matter where the goals come from. Frankly, I think, as we may find out if he's missing extended time, it's better to have a team that's getting goals from multiple places. I'd much rather have 7 players scoring 8 to 10 goals each than one player scoring 30 and the rest scoring 5.
I mean, how long have we been craving this? How many seasons when we sat here on shows, Mike, and said, if Aubameyang's not scoring, where are the goals coming from? And then when Lacazette took over the captaincy and we had that run in December where we scored 21 goals without Aubameyang, they were coming from all sorts of different places. But then when the
ESR started
Lacazette
scoring, Saka
momentum
started
dried
scoring.
up, like where are they coming from? Now they're coming from, we've said so much. Our midfield needs to score more. Our attacking wingers need to score more. We're getting the set pieces we've improved on. You're getting stuff from Gabriel. You're getting a little from Saliba. No, maybe not so much, as we were at the beginning of the season and with Gabby from last season. But I think sometimes we have to look at things clearly. We've always wanted to have a turnkey team, right? And I fear that people are going to start getting on Jesus's back where I'm like, okay, you know what? Put Eddie up there and see what happens for 5-6 games and see what you get.
And what you get, unfortunately, is neither of them scoring goals, but the players around them not scoring as many either. And, I mean, we won 5-0 against Forest, and Gabi Jesus didn't get a goal, but he might have been right up there for the man of the match. If you need a better example of why he's valuable to the team, even when he's not scoring, even maybe when he's missing some chances that he should put away, because it's not like he's not being putting himself in position to score. He is missing some chances, which is, maybe it's just regression.
That's confidence.
Yeah,
that's
but that works. That works itself out. That works itself out. And he's not dropping his head, and he's not failing to do all the other things that he was brought in to do. So I see no problem. And when you don't have a reliance on one person to get all your goals, you don't present a single point of failure for opponents to focus on.
But Don Juan, exactly, Mike. One criticism he needs to remember: he's a striker now, doesn't need to drop back. No,
not in Arteta's system.
No, that's exactly, Mike. That's the difference.
Not in Guardiola's system, which now has changed to accommodate Haaland, but as it should. But, I mean, successful systems. I mean, look, us playing under Unai Emery with a false 9 against Villarreal in the Europa League semifinals, what didn't work because the rest of the system wasn't connected to that. But in this case, again, I do have some blind trust at this point for what Arteta's choosing to do and how our players are playing, simply based on results and what's happened so far. If it's not sustainable, if we are on a down incline, and we should be freaking out about it to kind of preempt things from going wrong, then so be it. I don't really want to tinker too much with what's been generally a very successful situation and change that up. I mean, why
are we losing? We've lost one game in the Premier League, and we've lost one game in the Europa League.
And we were better in the game that we lost in the Premier League.
Correct.
We were better than them for large parts.
We should have won that game. You and I were at that game.
Yeah, I mean, we were better. We were the better team. We should have won, even if it wasn't. But you lose games you should win, and you win games you should lose. That's how it works. I'd rather do the latter more often, and that's what we've done this season.
And I think we learned from that game against Manchester United, by the way. And to be honest with you, you want to criticize Gabriel for making a mistake. Our forward line had multiple chances to bury Manchester United and didn't. But that's not just on Jesus. That's on Martinelli. That was on Saka. And, it's a collective. But what Gabriel Jesus offers the team, man, we haven't seen that in a really long time. And I've heard people like Hugh Wizzy and other influencers talk about how he's the best pressing forward in the world. He may not get the goals. Would you rather have Richarlison or Jesus? Would you rather have a hardworking, hustling guy who's changing the ethic and ethos of the dressing room and bringing a totally different level of playing off the ball to our club, right? Where players see him and say, holy crap, this guy's won the Premier League. He's played at the highest level, won all the trophies, and he's hustling. No matter the fact that he's not getting goals, he's still doing his job. The only thing he's not doing is scoring goals. We knew when we bought him, he's not a prolific striker. There's a reason why Arteta bought him. And remember, this is coming from someone who wasn't massively, crazy about Arteta in his first 2 seasons. But I'm not gonna argue with that, because what he offers, Mike, is unique
Would
to
you
this particular system.
would he be able to do that from the wing, do you think? I know he played there at times, I think.
I would love to see that, but would you want Eddie down the middle, or would you want to shift Martinelli down the middle? Do Jesus, Martinelli, Saka?
I wouldn't want to do that. I'm just curious as to whether that would work or not. It would be Martinelli, not Eddie.
Well, he was I think he's very effective from that left side.
I think the issue with that would be more about what we lose from Martinelli than what we don't lose from Jesus.
He's not going to change it until it's broke, right?
We're
top of the league with 2 points ahead. Is there any reason to tinker with what we're doing? And if we go on to win the Premier League or finish second playing this way, who's going to complain about that? I mean, come on, guys. At some point, you say what you see, and we've always been that way. Be critical when it's relevant, but right now, we are where we're at because of the way we're playing. Now, has it been pretty, Mike? Not necessarily. Not so much. However, Conte gets lauded for ugly Spurs, second half Spurs. Arsenal get criticised for wow, they're not playing as sexy as they were, blah, blah, blah. Well, come on. Really? Why can't we win ugly? It's the George Graham way as well. By the way, George Graham,
winning ugly.
We played a lot of pretty football under George Graham as well, by the way, in case you guys were too young to know that. But
winning ugly is a champion's skill. You cannot be successful without knowing how and being able to win ugly. Because it's just not possible in the Premier League to win every game pretty. Manchester City doesn't. And they're the most stacked, best coached team in the world, along with, your Madrids and Bayern Munichs, and those teams don't always win every game, and they don't always win every game pretty. And so, why should we be expected to, especially at this stage in our resurgence of the depths that we were in 3 or 4 years ago? So I'm thrilled with the situation. I'm thrilled with getting 1-0 wins against Zurich when we need, any kind of win. And, every once in a while, they'll give us the candy that they gave us against Nottingham Forest, and we'll get that and we'll enjoy it. But I'd rather that than draws to. I was cataloging some of our old podcasts, shifting them over from one server to another.
You bored? What were you doing?
Well, no, I'm shifting them over from one service to another so we can get rid of our website that no one ever goes to. And, I was looking at the kind of the write-ups, and I mean, some of those results, like just losses to Burnley and draws against Fulham. And I mean, I was like, oh my, I mean, it was a reality check to what we're experiencing now. And these were, we're in season 7 now of the podcast. So it was like season 3, season 4, season 5. And I'm like, holy cow, how did we not just vomit on these pods? I mean, some of them we probably did.
Exactly. So massive game this weekend. We're going to get you out on the predictions. I want this guy to cry. I respect what he did while he was at the club. And so does Arteta, and so does the club. But you know what? It's time to make him cry. Don't play for the Arsenal anymore. We don't pay his wages. Thank you for being there. Thank you for being part of a chapter. He didn't have an era, and he's certainly not a legend, in my opinion. I respect what you did, but you also, left the club. I respect what people do at the club, but sometimes I don't respect how they leave the club. And we needed this clear out. We needed to show people that your name on the back of the shirt isn't as big as the Arsenal Football Club. And for that, I admire the fact that Adu and Garlic and the owners gave Arteta full autonomy to do that, because Emery was not afforded that luxury with the
I think Arsenal
charlatans that he had.
Arsenal learned, they learned from their Emery experience as well. You could say it's unfair to Unai Emery that he wasn't given the ability to choose his right winger or to discipline players the way that he might have wanted to. But that's water under the bridge. That's a sunk cost. We are where we are
Okay.
now, and I'm glad for it.
What's your take, Mike? What do you think is going to happen in this game?
What do I always predict? I mean, every single game I predict the same
I always
thing.
predict 3-1. JJ, James Johnson, and I would do anything for love.
I have
but
my
I
prediction.
won't do that.
My prediction is especially for James Johnston. I actually, it's going to be 2-2. It's not because I'm not positive. It's because I'm superstitious. Aubameyang will score one of the 2 goals, and as he lands the forward flip, Hangman Adam Page is going to come out of the crowd and perform a buckshot lariat on him and knock him over.
You said Xhaka's going to headbutt him.
Well, no, Xhaka will.
Or will Kev come out of the booth and give him a look at
that? My respect and love for him could not be any higher. But if he did that, oh my God, he would become God status. He comes out of the booth and just clotheslines him and no, I mean something needs to happen if he does that. There needs to be some sort of handbags, just to
handbags at dawn. Handbags at dawn.
Handbags at dawn. So yeah, I'll say 2-2, but we know that I'm a little more confident than that. But I can't be on record predicting a win or we'll lose.
Well, look, there's 200 plus of you in live chat on a Friday night. For those listening on our audio platforms, thank you so much. Those listening on replay, thank you so much. Smash it for the Vinny, smash it for the Vessi. And also Kev is brocking next on TalkSport. If you missed his segment, he smashed it with Natalie Sawyer and oh my gosh, who was it? Dean. I'm having a brain fart. Ex-Liverpool forward and Aston Villa.
Saunders?
Yes, thank you so much. I'm getting this out. It's a 3-1 to the Arsenal this weekend. My
neck is healing pretty nicely from when Kev broke it.
Yeah, you're good. Thank you so much, Saunders. Yes. 2-1 says James. 2-1 Granite's going to do a Winterburn Silvino left pile driver. Soph,
Is it going to be a tombstone pile driver, James? That's what I want to know.
I'm ready to tour with the Rolling Stones. Seriously. Even Mike, sing. We'll get in there together.
I will do that. I just hate them. I'm Beatles. I'm Team Beatles, not Rolling Stones.
Yeah, no, I fancy it this weekend. 4-2 last season. They are definitely coming off a battering from the Premier League.
Maybe we should start Nketiah against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. I mean, kind of keep everything constant and scare them a little bit.
No. Start with Jesus and then let the subs come on.
Arteta
is a creature of habit.
There, by the way, the two Arsenal goals, I will guarantee everybody. I will make a $25 donation to Gooners versus Cancer if I'm wrong about this. And if I'm right about it, everybody else has to make one. Gabriel Martinelli will score on Sunday.
Guaranteed.
191.624% guaranteed.
If he doesn't score, the Highbury Squad will give $50 to Gooners versus Cancer.
Well, see, now I'm rooting for him not to score. That's not fair.
Oh, why? Because we're doing two different things.
Okay,
I'll back up with your bet. How about that?
Okay.
By the way, Magic, this could have been really good if Pepe was good. Pepe was a rolling stone. Wherever he dribbled and scored a goal. And when he dived, we got a penalty on the spot.
See, you rewrote the word, so I couldn't join you because I wasn't prepared for that.
Put me up with Eminem for a rap, a spontaneous rap. Oh my God!
We'll do a show. If it has to be on my channel so that you don't lose your algorithm, then we'll do a karaoke show on the Gooners Pod with you. It'll because we don't want you to get copyright violations because we sound so much like the original artist.
Yeah, so that would be true. So what's the bet? So what is it? If Martinelli doesn't score, we're donating money.
If Martinelli doesn't score, I will be surprised enough that I will donate $25 to
me too. I'll back that.
And when I donate to Gooners versus Cancer, I don't get the chance to win all the great prizes that all of you do if you donate to Gooners versus Cancer, which is live right now. The final piece of the puzzle for 2022 is live on goonersvcancer.com, and you can donate. You can get raffle tickets to win amazing prizes. What do we have there?
How do I get rid of this?
Was that Aubameyang? Oh, geez. I'm starting a new charity called Gooners versus Aubameyang, and you can donate it to that, and we'll do like we'll do a reverse auction where like the person that donates the least wins that or gets stuck.
That was gifted by Jags when he was winning football prizes at left, right, and center.
I love Ruth Beck is amazing. She sends me tons of stuff which you can also win when you donate to Gooners versus Cancer. But she said, she's got like Aubameyang pictures and stuff that were painted back when we liked him, and I can't get anyone to take those off.
It's bonfire night tomorrow, says Winston. Put those scissors to work, says Teng. Trash can, says Bonzo. Matty says send it back. They'll change. They'll charge you.
Some of the bog roll that I've had at staying in Airbnbs over in London is less comfortable than that picture would probably be.
What do you do with it? It's not the same as plays. Anyway, Jags, thank you. I'm always grateful for the gift. Like, I don't want to sound.
I can't believe Jags didn't win anything at our show in September.
No, that was an anomaly. Burn it. All right, big up Mike. Of course, as a radiologist, I have to give my respect to the big Mike.
Well, thank you, Marcelo. That's very nice of you.
Yeah. All right. My prediction is 3-1. Magic is 2-2. Kev's was 2-1. Brocket. Slice it. Go over to Gooners v Cancer. There's new auctions up. Support this wonderful charity. Remember, go to the swag store in our description. Anything we sell goes to Gooners v Cancer and our artists. Come on, it's the holiday season. It's the gift that keeps on giving. Of course, go to Zenith Coins. 30% off after the show. The link is in the description. Gift yourself, gift a friend. This is the official Arsenal coin. Our club have chosen Zenith to do this for them. And of course, nominate yourself.
You get enough of those and you can buy our next player in January, because those are being accepted as currency now. That's how valuable your show is.
So we're giving away another coin today, and it's very poignant. The Highbury Squad, send your nominations in, thehighburysquad@gmail.com, thehighburysquad@gmail.com. So we get a lot of letters from people who are going through difficult things, and out of respect for the family, I'm just going to give first names. A father wrote to us, and his son has a terminal illness, and he loves watching the show. And Rick, thank you so much for sharing your story with your son with us, and we are honored to send your son a coin, and it's going to put a smile on his face. And keep sharing your stories with us, thehighburysquad@gmail.com. Our show has always been about our community, our people, and we are so lucky to have so many great listeners who share their lives with us, and we want to share them with you. So Rick, thank you so much for sharing your story, and the Highbury Squad coin is on its way to you.
Rick, my condolences for the situation you're dealing with. Enjoy the time you have. And I have a son, and I can't imagine. I know others. We know others who have lost sons and daughters, and it's dreadful. And anything that we can do to help, even if it's just to put smiles on your faces, if in some way, shape, or form, is meaningful. And it really is a family. I use the words Gooner family a lot. I tweeted something out the other night when I was a little bit nervous about something, just to let people know how I feel about them. And I really do. I mean, so many of the names in here I either know in person, have met in person, or I'm very close to virtually. And you know, your community is one that just couldn't live without at this point. So thank you to everybody, and for all your support with Gooners versus Cancer, and to you, Soph, for bringing everyone together in the way that you do.
Mike, on your show with your wonderful charity. So please go to goonersvcancer.com, get stuck in. Magic will be back as well during the season with us. We always love having Magic on the show. And enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the football. Sun shining, you know, whatever it is you're doing, just soak it up. It's
go for a drive in your convertible Mustang, and take a walk around and have some baby milk and just enjoy it.
And Super Kev, thank you so much. Some of the things that we do behind the scenes that you don't see, just know that a lot of the people that write to us, they'll get very special messages from the squad. And Super Kev is always on deck to help however he can. Magic, thank you so much. You are
my pleasure.
The gift that keeps on giving. All right. And thank you for joining me today. Follow Magic at the Gooners Pod. Give him a follow on at Magic Mike Gooner. Please go to Gooners v Cancer. Give our friends at Zenith a visit as well. Squaddies, without you in the chat, there is no show. We love you more than we can tell you. All right. Have a great weekend. And we will see you post-game Chelsea. Until then,
that'll
tell
be
them.
Squaddies, thank you for joining us. And you may become at ease.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.